the restraining order. Here it is: stalking, no sexual contact. Which I've never even talked to this person until once before I was trespassed or all this stuff. But looky here, this is all. We had our hearing, so she did this on the same day as my court hearing with her cousin when I was taking him to court for lying on me. In which case, the judge or the magistrate refused to hear anything. So, this is what she said in order to get this order. She provided no evidence for it at all. It was granted. She feels not safe. And she said that I told the defendant, she said that I told her that I'm coming to get her. So keep in mind, we have each other trespassed, so I can't come on our property. So in order for me to say any of this or do any of what she's saying, I would have to A, violate the restraining order, or B, yell it across. So as much as her family hates me, that would have been reported like the same day. So let's look at this. So here we go. The hearing that she had set, and it's been continued many times, was on the same day that I was meeting with a lawyer. Because I had to meet with a lawyer to pay him to represent me because I knew they were going to try some shady stuff. So I missed that appointment because I was sitting in court all day dealing with this false report. And so she doesn't even live there. But apparently on multiple occasions I verbally threatened or harassed her. So, and her grandmother has dementia, by the way. That's what they say. When my wife first met them, she said that, and it's like, we don't believe what she says, but now all of a sudden, believe what grandma says when it comes to me. So, so yeah, so there's that. And so they granted it. They found probable cause, despite her producing no evidence of me doing any of this stuff. I know they didn't have any evidence because I've never been over there. I think I was over there once, actually. And this is after she came like harassing me on my post because I was seeking help. Here we go. So here's her messaging. Here's her commenting on our post, uninvited. You know, she's talking about race because, oh yeah, we definitely say they're racist because her grandma would say stuff about black people all the time, not knowing that I was biracial. And she's mentioning her husband being a combat veteran, which is kind of irrelevant to the situation. So, and then, so here's her again. Oh, here's my wife, kind of explaining, the situation. So I'm not going to go into that. You guys can pause it if you want. But, I've never commented. It was all my wife and Mitzi. Nothing illegal with that. Just saying. She's so focused that I'm lying. My wife clearly, I was at court. And she's talking about how Jeff lied, and so yeah. So she's claiming to hear us arguing loudly. Which, no, that's not true. Like, there was one time we were somewhat, we were a little bit loud, I can admit, but, like, there's once. And that was when we first got there, and there were other people there as well. So it wasn't even like, we were a little bit loud, but once. But she's making it out like we just are just horrible neighbors. And, they're the only ones, her and her cousin are the only ones that have ever had a problem with us. And this is only after finding out that I was biracial. And so she did this. She took this restraining order out because I was, honestly was embarrassing her and her family because they began to harass me after finding out that I was biracial. So I wanted to address this. So I reached out to the judge I'm writing regarding my upcoming hearing about Mitzi Gunn, the numerous false statements she has made about me. And so she got the restraining order. I'm just gonna skip past it. But she acknowledging she got the restraining order not out of being fearful, but just out of spite. And so look, on or around August 1st, 2024, I visited the grandmother's residence where she frequently spends time to clarify that I had no intention of causing problems and was merely seeking accountability for what transpired. Following that visit, she had me trespass, and in response, I trespassed her and her family as well. Since that incident, I have had no further contact with her. On Christmas Eve, she came to my house regarding her cousin's dog, Jeff, getting out and wanting to see camera footage. So there's me explaining everything. And so it's like the harassment, that they've just been, doing to us. And so she's, basically she received the email or whatever, but we're not allowed. She didn't do anything. And so we filed complaints. I'm trying to find everything, but it's tough. So I'll bring it up again. But so we filed these complaints. Here we go. And so, and this is a judge is supposed to see this. And so it's like we have proof of the government, trying to keep this. Look at that. This is unconstitutional, just so everyone knows. Unconstitutional. And I'm still trying to abide by it. Unconstitutional. And then I'm right here showing how that I notice how they say that I was advised not to contact the town of Gibsonville, which is it's not illegal to contact them. That's why they're saying advice. And so this is after their officer harassed me. So this is the police chief. His Facebook page, which I've been blocked from. So Irene Finelli is an alderman. Also, she's on the list of people that had me banned. John Cox was my lawyer. Facebook friends with this person, and didn't tell me. It's unethical. And look at this. This is an email that I sent citing that, that they knew, the court knew that they were lying. John Cox knew. So John Cox was saying that he was able to find a recording of somebody calling when my previous lawyer didn't, and then but he couldn't produce it, and it was only after, I complained. But you see all this? So I'm just trying to get help and expressing the situation. And although it doesn't pertain, it's like it's a large, like, she could have done something, but again, they're choosing not to. And so when I filed my complaints, they suppressed them. They didn't do anything. Here we go. Here's the formal complaint. I'm writing to formally lodge a complaint against Magistrate David L. Crabb, who presided over my civil case on 1/17/2025. So the week before, this is where Jeff and his cousin, who took the restraining order on me that same day, the case happened. So here we go. Denial of continuance. And so initially I had gone in there to seek a continuance because of the cousin taking a restraining order. I couldn't meet the cousin. I couldn't meet my lawyer, but obviously they were like, no. So that's fine, but I still had the evidence. So I wasn't able to present my evidence and so they didn't acknowledge, they didn't discredit. But it was acknowledged that, yeah, he didn't do any of this stuff and that he was biased. And so I'm asking for, them to strike the order and to let me have a fair trial. And J.D. Holland refused to. Now I have to appeal, in which case it's like it costs money to appeal. So here is me filing a complaint again against a different complaint against Magistrate Hunter. Basically, I called and I was given the wrong information, being hung up on numerous times. And then I was given the magistrate, and the Magistrate Hunter, she interrupted me, and told me that I was talking about the wrong person, then hung up on me. This is what's being talked about. And then, I have all this stuff, and they've chosen not to do anything. All this evidence talking about how my lawyer knew that they were lying, the DA knew they were lying, and didn't do anything. That is 100% prosecutorial misconduct. And then like the magistrate, they're not taking any, when I'm filing complaints against these other people, they're not doing anything. It's just a concealment. And so, had my wife contact them, nothing. So this is my final response. I previously reported that Magistrate David Crabb refused to hear my case or view the well-founded evidence despite it being a fundamental right. He just flat out dismissed it. It was clear from that sharing that the judge had made up his mind before the hearing. This is the very thing that you are telling me that we are doing, which is fair. How's that any different? I shouldn't have had to pay to appeal when I wasn't even heard on the matter. Since no one has taken any action to give me an actual trial, I'll be taking this up with the higher authorities and filing a complaint in a lawsuit if necessary. I understand about the ex parte, but the concerns about Magistrate David Crabb have clearly been disregarded. There's no need to respond unless you are going to give me I had a lot of typos, but give me a court date just to view the evidence. But